Today, we're diving into something that's at the very core of our daily lives as Muslims, reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. This is the chapter that is the heart and soul of our prayers, and we're going to look at some tiny details that could honestly transform how you recite it. Just think about that for a second. 17 times a day minimum. I mean, with that kind of repetition, you'd think we'd have it down perfectly. But what happens is these tiny little habits can creep in without us even noticing. And look, this isn't about calling anyone out. It's about reconnecting with these powerful words and making our recitation even more beautiful. And this is precisely why it matters so much. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, literally called Al-Fatiha the greatest surah in the entire Quran. The spiritual weight of this chapter is just off the charts. So nailing the pronunciation, it's not just some, technical thing. It's about truly honoring the sacredness of the words themselves. All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to start by looking at some of the most common and honestly the most subtle mistakes people make in this prayer we know so well. And you'll probably be shocked at how simple the fixes are. What's really fascinating is that even people who lead the prayers, even imams, can sometimes make these small slips. They're super common, often just little habits we've all picked up over the years and never really thought about. Let's look at a really clear example. Okay, let's take a look at the fourth verse. A lot of people recite Malik, and they kind of stop short, making that last letter silent. But if you look really closely, you'll see a kasra, that tiny little dash underneath the letter kaf. And that's telling us there's an is sound there. So the correct way is actually maliki, with a clear ki sound at the end. It's such a small tweak, but wow, it really does make a difference. Okay, moving on to our next section. Now we're going to get into a really fundamental rule of Arabic pronunciation that pops up in the opening verses, and it all has to do with a special little group of letters. So the fancy term for this is al-huruf al-lathawiyya, which basically translates to the lisping letters. Now, when we say lisping, don't think of it like a speech impediment. It's not that at all. It's a very specific, deliberate way to pronounce these letters by letting the very tip of your tongue come out between your front teeth. So here are the three letters we're talking about. Tha, which is like the th in three. Then there's thou, like the th in the. And finally, za, which is kind of like a heavier, deeper version of thou. Let's see how this works with a word we all say right before we even begin Al-Fatiha. Okay, check this out. This is a perfect example. A super common mistake is to pronounce the letter dhal as if it's a z, so we say a'udhu. But if we apply that new rule, let the tongue come out just a bit, it becomes a'udhu with that soft th sound. That one simple movement, that's the whole secret to getting these lathawiyya letters right. All right, our next concept is something that adds this incredible richness, this depth to how the Quran sounds. We're talking about the difference between heavy and light letters. And trust me, this is a game changer for getting the right feel and meaning. Let's look at this verse. Guide us to the straight path. The word for path is as-sirat. Now, a lot of us might instinctively say sirat with a light S sound, like the English word sir. But the letter here is not the light seen, it's the heavy sod. To say it right, your mouth has to get full and you produce this thick sound. Sirat. Hear that? The difference is huge. So this whole idea of making certain letters sound full and heavy, it has a name. It's called tafkhim. Think of it like giving the letter more bass, more resonance in your mouth. This is what gives Quranic recitation that powerful quality that just fills the room. Now, to make things easier, scholars have actually grouped these 7 heavy letters into a handy little mnemonic phrase to help us remember them. Khussa, batin, qidh. So whenever you see one of these letters, it's your cue to engage that tafkhim, fill your mouth, and produce that rich, heavy sound. All right, now, within that group of heavy letters, there's one letter that is so unique, so legendary, that it's in a class all by itself. It's so central to the language that it deserves its own moment in the spotlight. So here's a question for you. Did you know that the entire Arabic language gets its nickname from just one letter? A single, notoriously difficult letter. Any guesses which one it is? And that letter is Dad. Yep, the letter Dad. It's one of those heavy letters we just talked about, but man, its pronunciation is famously tricky, not just for non-native speakers, but even for some Arabs. This is why Arabic is literally called Lughat ad-Dad, the language of Dad.
Its sound is so unique because you have to press the side of your tongue against your upper molars to make it. It's a sound you just don't find in many other languages. And this exact letter is waiting for us in the very last verse of Al-Fatiha.
Okay, let's get to our final key rule, which also shows up in that incredibly powerful final verse. This one is all about timing, about giving sounds the right amount of space to breathe. Right at the very end of Al-Fatiha, we have the phrase, وَلَضَالِّينَ. Now, I want you to really zoom in on that long ah sound in dhalin. This isn't just your average long vowel. There's a special rule here that demands we hold it for much, much longer. This special stretch has a name. It's called mad lazem, which literally means necessary elongation. And that word necessary is everything. This isn't optional. It's a required, mandatory part of reciting it correctly. So how long is necessary? The rule is super specific. 6 counts, or 6 beats. It is literally the longest vowel stretch in all of Tajweed. So when you really draw out that walabalin, you're not just being dramatic. You're perfectly following this beautiful mandatory rule. So there you have it. We've talked about lisping letters, heavy sounds, and these necessary stretches. And the cool thing is, these rules aren't just for Al-Fatiha. These are core principles that will level up your recitation of the entire Quran. So let's recap the big 3 takeaways. First, mind your tongue. Get that placement right for those lisping letters. Second, really feel the difference between heavy and light sounds. Make Sod sound completely different from Sin. And third, give it time. Hold those long vowels, especially that massive 6-count Mad Lazium, for their full duration. You know, nailing these little details, it's about more than just sounding good. Every time you get a pronunciation right, every time you hold a note for its proper length, you're forging a deeper, more profound connection with the divine text. So my question to you is, now that you're in on these secrets, how is your next prayer not just going to sound, but how is it going to feel?